So, I want to make this video before I watch Season 6, Chapters 17 through, I think, 19? Yeah, 19. Because I have a theory, but I don't know if it's going to be true or not. So, my theory is that Tex is an AI, but she is an AI that's different from Church. Right? We know Church is the alpha AI, but Tex is a separate AI. Now here's my reasoning. So the one question I've always had when we learned that Church was the alpha is exactly what happened to Tex. Because we know that Tex sort of had the same abilities that Church did, right? Church was able to survive after he got exploded from Sheila, and he was able to possess bodies. And so was Tex, right? She lived after she died from the grenade from Donut, and she's able to possess bodies, right? I believe there was even one episode where she kicked Church out, or like she occupied, I think it was Lopez's body, so that Church couldn't go in, right? So if Church is able to do these things and he's considered an AI, and Tex is able to do these things, then it's not a far stretch to assume that she's an AI as well. Now, going off of that idea that she is an AI, we have to ask another question, right? Is she an AI fragment from Alpha, or is she not, right? Either she is or she isn't. Now, there's one person that can decide whether or not she is or isn't, and that is the meta. Is because the meta, at least as far as we know, is searching out for the fragments of the alpha. So if somehow the meta got a hold of Tex, then we would then assume that she's part of Church, right? So if we go back to, I believe it was the first episode when the freelancer program got a hold of one of the red survivors, right? We heard of the red survivor, the red survivor said that the blue team that was at 17B grabbed all the stuff that was inside the jet, or the plane thing, that's including Tex's body, and they took it to their base. Right, and the Reds saw that the Blues were getting attacked by something, and the red dude said that when that something came over to the red base, it was different. Right, they weren't able to see him as clearly. Right, so obviously we assume that the meta went and attacked the blue base because he was searching for Omega and Gamma. Right, he was searching for those two because they were on the ship. And he also grabbed Tex's armor enhancement. That's why he's able to be invisible. So at that time, you would assume if Tex was an AI fragment from Church, that the meta would have sensed it and he would have taken her as well, right? So we fast forward and go to the episode where Delta was taken, right? The video of all the AIs that were surrounding Delta saying like, welcome home, come join us, and stuff like that. This may be a long stretch, but none of those AIs looked, acted, or sounded like Tex, right? So I can make an assumption that none of those AIs are Tex, right? And if they're not Tex, then that means the meta did not take Tex. And the only reason why the meta would not take Tex if she was an AI is if she wasn't part of the alpha AI, right? Now this is obviously based off of whether or not she was an AI, which I think she is. So if she was an AI, and she wasn't picked up by the meta, then she has to be a separate AI. So the question is, if she was an AI that was part of the freelancer program, why didn't they use her and split her up along with Church or the Alpha? Now, there's two reasons. The first reason is her being an AI is one of those tests, right? We were told that the freelance program gave the freelancers tests to figure out like what would happen, like the what if situations. Like Carolina was given 2 AIs, North and South Dakota was only given 1, and the brother got it to see what would happen, and so on and so forth. So my guess is probably they wanted to see of how an AI would react to having an AI enhancement with them, right? 2 AIs, what would happen, right? What if situation. The only other way it would make sense as to why Tex wasn't split along with Alpha is because it has some sort of significance to the director, right? Because the director is the person that is responsible for splitting up Alpha. Maybe Tex is the director's main, like it was the director's main AI. It has some sort of like Master Chief and Cortana vibes, or I don't know. All I know is the theory was, or at least the theory that I had, was that Tex is an AI that is different from the Alpha AI. I don't know like when she's going to show up, how she's going to show up, but that is my theory. So with that being said, I'm going to leave and I'm going to watch chapter 17 through 19. See you guys there.